Live from Austin, Texas, this is Diversity Cafe, hosted by me, Angela Hood, CEO and founder of This Way Global. Our podcast features HR tech and recruiting experts that know our industry inside and out. They are the best of the best. Join us and enjoy a cup of your favorite brew and get the insight you need to meet recruiting and diversity challenges head on. Let's get started. Okay, hello, Jessica, again. I'm so happy that you came back and visiting with us. So we got a ton of questions last time you were on the podcast. So I want to share some of these with you. And as usual, we're both so busy that we never have time to catch up between podcasts. So you'll have to forgive me if you're not prepared for them, but I think that you are because you always know this by the back of your hand. So this is Jessica Willis with PocketNest.com, and they provide financial wellness to businesses to help the business's employees. I absolutely love this. I think that this is a deeply overlooked benefit that most companies are not offering. And if you follow the news, you hear everyone talking about things like student debt, and they really wish someone would help them with it because it's stressing them out. At the same token, employees or employers are trying to figure out how to attract and retain great candidates and applicants. Seems like to me that this is a perfect merger of demand and a solution that you are offering. So if you would tell everyone, assume that no one heard the first podcast. So tell everyone first where you're from and then a little bit about your background.
Great. Well, thank you for having me again, Angela. It is so nice to see you. Yes, I'm Jessica Willis. I'm the founder and the CEO of PocketNest. My background is all in investment management and financial planning, 20 years of experience as a certified financial planner and a certified private wealth advisor. Our company does financial wellness, and that is comprehensive financial planning. We take employees through what we say are 10 themes of financial planning, everything from estate planning and income tax planning to budget and retirement, how to save for kids' college while paying off your own student debt, all of the pieces that keep us up at night. We're based in Michigan and really happy to be here.
That is awesome. So if you don't know, if you didn't hear the last time we spoke, Jessica and I are both part of Google Acceleration. That's how we met. And I was absolutely fascinated by some of the companies that we were in the same cohort with, yours being one of them. So I love this. The biggest question, and it has been phrased to us 3 or 4 different ways, but it really kind of comes down to, and I wrote it down because I wanted to make sure I hit it right. It appears that employees have been relying on their employers to help them financially, like beyond just the paycheck. So you saw 401ks being developed. There used to be pension plans. This has gone on for a really long time. So one of the questions was, why has that stopped? Like, it seems like people don't do pension plans anymore, and is profit sharing gone away? Like, or are those things still valued by employees? And then the other part, it really came around about student debt. It's and I think so. If you don't know, millennials are the largest part of our workforce. And I'm not saying you, Jessica, I know that you know this, but I'm just saying as the audience, I don't think people think about it that millennials are our workforce right now, and they are also the one that is saddled with the greatest amount of student debt. So if you have anything to offer on these, I think that in general is what our audience kept coming back to us with.
Yeah, millennials are so burdened by student debt. And now something that's interesting is that that same age group is the age group that is starting to have children. And so they're still trying to pay off their own student debt while trying to figure out how to save for college for their own children, while also trying to figure out how to save for retirement. And yes, if they have access to a 401k, how to make that payment while putting food on the table. It's a lot. And, you talk about how employees are counting on their employers. It is an interesting thing, right? It is interesting that for decades, employees have gone to employers for financial help beyond the paycheck. I love how you said that, Angela. Why is that? And I think that started from the pension plans. I think I have no idea when pension plans sort of came out, but at some point, these corporations, these companies recognize that can we support our employees by sharing profit with them? And so they started with these defined benefit plans, which are those traditional profit sharing plans that we think of. Maybe our grandparents had these profit sharing plans over decades. They talked about their pension.
Yep.
And then what happened was those sort of became unsustainable to a lot of those corporations, because as there were multiple generations, they found that committing to that benefit at retirement was a little bit tougher than committing to a contribution. So now we talk about defined contribution plans, which are the 401ks, 403bs, 457s. Everybody knows the 401ks. And so that's sort of been the financial support that employees have wanted from their employers since the late 70s. But now that's morphed into even more, right? Now employees are going to their employers and asking for more financial help. And what does that mean? It's financial wellness beyond that 401k, beyond retirement. So yes, the student debt piece. And employees are asking their employers for help in student debt. And it's not even just monetary. It's not help me pay off my student debt. It's help me tackle this. Like, how do I do it? I have a bunch of different student loans. How do we, what loans have to be restructured or refinanced, or is there forbearance opportunities? It's kind of a messy, uncomfortable problem, I guess.
Yeah. So we have 15 employees, right? So we're not quite to where we can get Pocket Nest, because you start at roughly 25 employees, right?
Yes.
So, but I actually did talk to my CFO about hey, I would like to do this once we hit sort of your threshold. So in this process of us talking about it, someone on my team shared that they have, I might have the number wrong, but I think it's 11. I know it's more than 10. 11 student loans.
Wow.
And they're all different types. Some are state-backed and some are private. And when they were explaining this to me, I didn't even know that there were this many different types. And they were asking, I'm not even sure if I'm paying off the right ones in the right order, because the terms are so convoluted that I'm not quite sure that I'm paying off the right ones. And this really sort of opened my mind, because I had this conversation right after having met you.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, so this is like the piece beyond, because you kept saying it's a lot more than just X and Y.
Yeah.
It's 10 different points.
Yeah.
All need to be planned around. So do you find that this is common, that people have these many different layers of debt that they don't really understand well enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think someone that is burdened by student debt has that situation. It's I don't know where my debt is. I don't know, what order it should be paid off. And then I think most importantly is we feel shame around this, right? We feel like I should know this stuff. Of course I should know what order I should be paying off my debt. But you want to say nobody does. This stuff is so confusing. And that's just, you use the example of student debt, or we're talking about student debt so much, but something we've learned is that all of these different pieces of personal finance, we all feel burdened by something different. My eldest child was 18 months before I finally signed my estate documents, which are basic, like, what happens to my child if something happens to me? Because for me and my husband, that was the really hard piece that kept us up at night, is thinking who's going to take care of that child if something happened to us. She's 12 now, so now we have everything signed and buttoned up. But yeah, we all feel burdened and overwhelmed by a different piece of personal finance, and there's no great tool out there to help us get these things in order.
Yeah, I mean, I know. So my husband is a retired Marine fighter pilot, and so the Marine Corps, and I think all the divisions of the armed forces, are very specific about you getting all of your certain paperwork in order, right? The wills, the power of attorneys, all this stuff, you have to do it annually. There's a checklist. You can't go to the next tier in your career if you don't keep up on these things. But what they don't do is they don't do it for the spouse. So you as the active duty member have to have everything cleaned up. And we have seen some really tragic situations because the wife or the husband that was not the active duty member did not take care of some of these things. So I think about it even from a bigger perspective. Organizations like USAA, who have tons of military members, I think those types of places, if they could offer this to their members.
Oh yeah.
Because they're obviously very focused on finances and the fact that they're one of the largest banks. But it's kind of like a different angle is what you're talking about. It's financially based, but different.
Yeah. We actually have two products. One of our products is licensing to financial institutions. So that includes insurance companies. But yeah, we have found that individuals are either leaning on their employers or leaning on their financial institution for help. And so, we license our product to both of those. It's a slightly different product, but the whole world, everybody needs help with this stuff. None of us know all the answers.
Well, and I think that's true. Like you talk about your background, you've been in the industry for a couple of decades, right?
Yes.
Like that, maybe a little bit longer. I've been in my industry for a very long time too. But you end up realizing how much you know, and you still don't know everything.
Right.
And so then you think about another person who they don't have 2 decades of finance.
Right.
Why would they know all the things that you know? Like, I just think it's so cool that you built tech to be able to take, 2 decades of experience and optimized experience and then give people access to that. I mean, it's incredible.
Thanks. Yeah. In my whole team, we just think personal finance has been made so much more confusing and overwhelming and intimidating and shameful than it needs to be. It really, like the big secret we tell each other is this stuff is not rocket science. There's just no easy way to deliver it. And I'm not talking about the, multi-generational, multi-millionaire families. Like, that stuff is complex and you need more help than a tech platform can give you. But for the rest of us, I think we can get you, quite a bit of the ways that you need to go just by, getting the right questions asked.
So if a person is making, let's say, $50,000 a year, they may be thinking, I don't need to worry with this yet. What do you think about that?
No, you need to worry. Maybe not worry. How about this?
Right.
You get your first paycheck, you need to be asking yourself some questions. That doesn't mean like pay down all of your debt in the next 12 weeks, nothing like that. But just have a plan, to ask the question of how am I going to be thinking about retirement? If you have children, we want you to be asking questions about your estate plan. Again, you don't need these complex estate documents that multi-million-dollar family might need. But if you have children or you have any complexity in your family situation and you have assets and that might feel like minimal assets to you, like have that. We just want to ask that question. Do you need an estate document? Do you need estate plans? We think that there's a lot that a lot of work people need in their personal finances.
So you are in Detroit, right?
Yes.
Right? Yes. Okay. So Michigan, Texas, California, are there different regulations around these things in the different states?
Definitely. But the advice we give is it's much more rules of thumb, much more educational than it is, we're not making recommendations to anyone to buy individual stocks. We're not giving advice. We're not writing tax returns. We're not writing legal documents. We're just asking the right questions to get someone queued up to the fact that they know whether or not they need estate documents or they know what kind of insurance they should be thinking about. But we're not selling any of those products. And so, it's much more educational based of what we do.
So that's an interesting point too. So it's not that you're making money off of, you're not making a recommendation and then making money off of that recommendation.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's completely.
Yeah, we don't sell any product. That's one of the things that distinguishes our financial wellness platform from many of the other financial wellness platforms out there. We get paid, it's $1 per user per month. We get paid from the employer. And that's it. The employer wants to support their employees by bringing them financial wellness. That is the only way we get paid. We're not selling products, we're not selling data, and we don't get paid from recommendations or anything like that.
Yeah. So it completely is independent, unbiased, all those things. Being unbiased is my favorite thing. So that is great. So, all right. I'm curious when you're looking at the data, do you see a difference between men and women and how they approach this?
I want to say definitely, and I want to say no at the same time. Men and women definitely have different ways of coming at personal finance, for sure. There's all sorts of studies and research on that. But I will say, as far as our particular user base, we go between we're basically like 49 to 51% of men versus women users. So yeah, there's definitely differences, I would say, in the way, men and women come at personal finance. But as it comes to our tech platform, we have found that, we keep looking for, is there one gender more than another that's using our platform? And the answer is no.
Right. But I love that. I mean, I think that certainly some of the other numbers that we've seen when we were doing our own research for our platform, there were a lot of differences between the way men and women would approach work. But it was also a lot of differences in the way men and women would attend four-year colleges. And that has been changing significantly lately. In the last decade, it's a lot more even across all ethnicities too. So I just think it's cool.
So interesting.
Yeah. We are a different makeup than we were 30 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's where we see this becoming a priority.
Yeah.
So I love that you talked about what it cost, $1 per employee per month, right?
Yes.
To me, that is absolutely incredible value. I mean, that is outstanding, because if you go to something that is going to recommend some other service, you don't really know if you're getting independent guidance.
Right.
Also, if I'm understanding this correct, if I'm an employee of a company that's using Pocket Nest, then I can sit down with my spouse and we're actually both benefiting from this interaction, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So that's excellent. So I just love it. I love that you've built this. Is there any kind of like parting comment that you would love to share as far as like what they should be doing if they don't have access to Pocket Nest? Because our employees don't have access to you.
Yeah.
Waiting for you to have a startup plan.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you don't have access to Pocket Nest, you definitely tell your employer to check out Pocket Nest. We'd love to give you a demo. But we have a ton of resources on our website too that you can go onto our website and read. We've got plenty of articles and that sort of thing. But if not, I would if you're an individual, just ask yourself some questions about getting your finances in order. I think the first step is for all of us in any big, intimidating, project is don't, as tempting as it is, don't put your head in the sand. Ask yourself, what do I need to be doing to set myself up for retirement or my budget or paying off the high interest credit card debt? There's tools out there. Check out the articles we have on our website. And if your employer, check us out. We'd love to show you a demo and see if there's a fit between what we do and what you do. And, we're trying to change the financial trajectory for the world. We're on a mission to promote wellness, and that's what we want to do.
Love it. When it comes to finance, ignorance is not bliss.
Right. Thank you, Angela. I'm going to coin that.
So great to have you. Thank you, Jessica, for sharing with us again. I think Pocket Nest is just an incredible value, and I'm hoping that we have a lot of our employer customers listening to this, because I think this is a real way to juice up the attraction of great candidates and to make sure that they stay with the company for a long haul. Thanks for listening to Diversity Cafe. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to see the growth of fair recruiting, please share it with others, post it on social media, and leave a nice review. To stay caught up on all the latest, follow This Way Global on Facebook, LinkedIn, or at thiswayglobal.com.